We're going to show you how to change settings in a Classpad.net paper. And this is not only overall settings for the whole page, but also settings within each sticky. So let's log in. And it will open a blank paper. So we're just going to use this to help us start. So anytime you see three dots, so you'll notice right now on my blank paper, the three dots are up here at the right. That indicates settings. So this three dots, because it's attached to the whole paper, is the settings for the whole paper. So when I click it, here are the things that I can change. I can change my math settings, which means I can change how I want numbers to show up in no matter what sticky I'm in, how I want angles to be measured, so maybe I want them to be degrees, if I want complex on or off, so if you're planning to use complex numbers, you would want that on. Whether I want my calculations to show up as standard or decimal, you can choose. We'll leave it at decimal. And so all these different things are what you can choose overall paper settings, right? You can also change the settings for the financial sticky here, so you can determine how many days, how many payment periods. So lots of drop-down menus within the settings. Additionally, again, overall, variable manager. Now, this is a new paper. We do not have any variables, but if you were to assign something to be, if you had assigned X to always have the value of 5, that would show up as X has a value of 5. This is where you would add your description. So if you're planning to share this paper with students or with the public, this is a great place for you to write a description about what the paper's looking about so that people can find it. Tags are a great way for people to find an activity that you're sharing. So tag it on key content, keywords, those types of things. You can change the paper's language. It's defaulted to English for me. And this is where you would share. So if you want to share your paper with your students or with your public, this is where you would go to do that. So you can, it's always defaulted to private, but you can create a URL or publicly share it for everyone to find. So these settings up here to the right on the overall paper will change things for the whole paper. Now let's talk about the different stickies themselves. So I'm going to click over here and just pull up the calculate sticky. We'll do these in order. So again, notice this is the calculate sticky. I could start calculating, but we're interested in settings. So here again are those three dots. And these three dots pertain to this sticky at this moment. So the only thing you can do in calculate is change the color of the sticky. So not a lot that you can do with the calculate sticky because a lot of those settings are already done in the overall paper. Let's now look at a graphing sticky that has different settings because it's a different sticky. So again, here's my three dots. Notice that it says the sticky settings. And here's where I can turn on or off the axes, put the numbers in, put the grids in, turn them on or off. So if they're checked, that means they're on. I can change my labels. So they default to X and Y, but I could actually just make this be, time and the other one distance and change that. I can change my window. I can make it auto. I can put in my own scale. Here's if you're going to do inequality graphing, you can choose to show the intersection or the union. You can also, so notice my time and distance changed. And you can turn on what type of variables you're using. Are you working with polars? Are you working parametric? And are you dealing with conics? Like, so if you're working with circles and ellipses and hyperbolas. So anytime you turn on the graphing, these are the settings that you can control. And each individual sticky has its own settings. So I can have a graphing sticky where I turn on the union, but then I can create a second graphing sticky where I turn off the union and I only want to see the intersection. So they interact or don't interact depending. So they each have their own sticky setting. So stickies are always the three dots. So let's go into, let's actually show you something. Anytime a sticky is created, so notice I was about to mention a function, I have settings. So if we look up here, I am about to enter a function. Let's just enter a simple one, parent function. But I can also change the settings of this. So anytime a sticky is creating, so this is a graph sticky, this is an equation sticky, the three dots means I can change something else about it. Okay, so in this case, it's only color. I can look over here and also in the color section, I can make it a dashed line or a hide show graph. So stickies and settings are all controlled by that 3 dots. Let's look at the geometry real quick. So again, 3 dots, lots of things to change in geometry if you want. Notice there's lots of grids that you can change things to. You can have a minor grid, a diagonal grid. You can have dot paper or isometric paper. You can turn axes on or off so then it looks very much like a graphing. You can change your window. You can change how units lengths show up. Default is no units, but you can choose to have it say millimeter, centimeter, meter. You can choose how you change your degree. Remember, we changed it to degree overall paper, but I can now change it back to something just for this sticky. I can turn the labeling on or off automatically. I can hide things and show the things I've hidden and change my decimals. Lots of things to do in a geometry sticky. Let's pull up a data sticky. So data stickies are again, just going to be color, but what happens once you graph data is you get a graphing sticky, and then that has some more settings that you can change. So again, always look for the 3 dots. The 3 dots determine your settings. So this is our sequence sticky, and notice that you can make it be recursive or explicit, change the different types, and depending on what you choose determines the soft keyboard that then shows up. Financial stickies, remember we had some of those settings set up ahead of time. So when I go here, it looks like you can't do anything, but remember overall paper, you can change the number of days. And then if you pick a specific financial template, it also gets its own sticky. And here, it's only going to allow you to change the settings that are appropriate for what you're doing. So compound interest, the payment date and the odd period is what's appropriate. Remember, you could have also done that in the paper. So again, 3 settings. And finally, a text setting. Text setting, you mainly can just change the color. So this is nice if you're trying to color code your directions or always have students write in yellow stickies, those types of things. So you can color code and change your settings there. So the key here is look for the 3 dots on any sticky or in the overall paper, and that will allow you to change specific settings.